All right, we are making Grit Gym breakfasts. The best breakfasts you will ever see. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just getting some water boiling because we're actually going to do poached eggs. And I want to get that going right away. And we're going to get our bacon going because that's going to be one of the things that takes a little bit. If I can get the flame to go. Oh, I was in the wrong. No kidding. All right, and then we're going to get the steamer to go. Kind of have to do this all in one shot. We're going to get the steamer to go because the first thing is we're going to have a big thing of spinach going into that. Then we've got 8 eggs because I'm a real man. I eat a real breakfast. And we've got a big palm full of mushrooms and then the equivalent level of onions. And then over here we've got what we're going to use for our oatmeal. So we're going to use steel cut oats. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our spinach going. And amazing thing about this is this whole thing of spinach is going to steam down to nothing. So you're getting, I mean, what would usually be like multiple salads, like all these salads, and is going to just shrink down. You will see as it goes along. Yeah, we're just getting that at like a medium heat. We're going to keep this one pretty high. And then while that's going on, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to prep some stuff, all right? So first thing I'm going to prep is actually I'm going to get my oatmeal going. So I'm going to take, that's 1/4 of a cup of steel cut oats. I'm going to add some cinnamon. Cinnamon is actually cinnamon in them. I watched Finding Dory last night, so Nemo was saying words wrong like that too. But cinnamon is actually very good for you. I'm going to add twice as much water as I do oats, and then I'm going to take some craisins, some dried cranberries. I'm going to add those in too. So I'm going to get that boiling also. Usually I would do that with milk, but I don't have any milk. But I would use grass-fed milk there. I think I got these backwards. I do. There we go. While that's going on, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to start dicing up my mushrooms. So I got my knife, and I'm not a world-class chef or anything. Nothing I say here is ironclad or how you should do it. This is how I do it. But I just kind of go through my mushrooms just a couple of times to get them kind of small. I don't really like them big. I like them kind of small. And what we're going to do, we're going to make kind of like a hash out of this. All right, so we're going to bring that off to the side. I'm going to take out my onion. And I'm going to try to not chop my hand off. So far, so good. I've not cut myself in the kitchen, but, you know, maybe being on camera for the first time, doing it will be different. But I'm just once through in the onion. Like so. Then I flip it, and I cut it the other way. And by this time, the bacon is probably actually ready to flip. So I'm going to grab my tongs that fell into the sink. I think they're fine. The sink's clean. We actually need to turn this up a little bit. So we're going to flip this. We're going to flip this, and then we're going to add our mushroom and our onion right on top of it. A lot of people hate on bacon. I don't understand why. It's perfectly fine for you. Now, there's a big difference between 2 pieces of bacon and an entire pound of bacon. So right here we're having 2 pieces. I cut both of them in half before we put it in there, and we're cooking them together. It's a totally different deal than if I was to eat a whole pound of bacon. So there's nothing wrong with bacon. It's the amount of bacon that you're going to eat that could be the issue. If you're putting bacon in every single one of your salads, it's probably not the greatest idea in the world. All right, while that is happening, we're going to come back here. We're going to get our eggs going. Because that water, you just want to bring that water to a boil. You're going to bring that water to a boil, and then we're going to spin the water, and then we're going to drop the eggs. So I'm hoping that that is going to time out perfectly. It usually does. But, you know, every day is a little different. So I'm going to get my eggs going. I remember watching my grandma do this when I was a little kid, and I remember thinking that is so amazing that she can crack 2 eggs at once, one with each hand. So it was like a big deal when I figured out how to do that later on. But anyway, eggs are kind of an interesting subject too to go along with the bacon thing, because everybody's so scared of the amount of cholesterol that's in eggs. The cholesterol isn't the problem. It's the inflammation in the arterial wall that is the problem. So we're getting ready. We're going to spin this a few times. So the amount of cholesterol that's in eggs shouldn't be the deterrent from using eggs. Eggs are great for you. There's a lot of actually nutrients in eggs that aren't in any other plants or foods that we eat. And so eating eggs is extremely good for your body. And they get a really bad reputation, an undeserved reputation, because of some bad science research that came out a long time ago. But we're just going to let that all scoot down. And if you're watching this live, we're just going to keep going live. But if you're coming from the video, we're actually going to cut this up, and we'll come back when this is coming a little bit faster. What would you add to the cholesterol debate portion?
Right here, me?
Yeah.
The dietary cholesterol and cholesterol in your arteries are not the same cholesterol.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it all got mixed up.
Yeah. It's really dumb. What's everybody saying on Instagram?
I don't know. Is anybody saying anything on Instagram?
Sockamel joined. Rach says, the oats are my fave. All right, so we're waiting. It's about to go. The oats are about done. The bacon and the onion mushroom hash thing is working its way up. It's just got to stay warm, and the spinach is cooked down considerably. So it's getting time to go. Time to go. So we're gonna grab our eggs, and this is the trick. This is the trick that I've done this on Snapchat a ton of times. All right, if you guys are on Snapchat, add us up on Snapchat @GritGym. I get that water spinning. Drop them in. There's so many adults that have told me that changed the entire game. So now we're just going to wait. The oatmeal is about done. It's got probably like 3 or 4 minutes. This is going to be done in probably about that same amount of time. And then we're going to come back and we're going to plate it. This is how I get set up for it. I'm not saying this is how you got to get set up for it, but I put out paper towels because I don't like wet eggs all over my plate. So I also don't like the spinach running into everything. So in the meantime, while that's going on, I kind of get prepped out for eating this food. You know, I'm just trying to be as efficient as possible. So we're going to put the eggs right on top of here, and we're going to put the spinach right on top of here. And while that's going on, I'm actually going to take and I'm going to get we're just waiting for this to kind of boil up. And I don't know if that's the way that you're supposed to do it. That's just the way that I've always done it. It works for me. So we're going to take this. We're going to get it off on the plate. It's a great sentence. So this is that onion, bacon, mushroom. I don't know what else to call it. I call it a hash. There it goes. I did not catch it. That's a bummer. All right, so now we're going to take this. Let's shut off all the others because they're done too. We're going to take this and we're going to grab a slotted spoon. Oh, you're getting to see the inner workings of the organization of a real drawer, not a cooking show drawer. All right, so we're going to take this and we're just going to scoop these out one at a time. I find if I try to do a bunch at a time, I end up breaking them. But we're just going to set them on there, let them dry. And this is one of those things that is actually really easy once you get in the hang of it. A lot of people say it's too hard to make breakfast. It's kind of a silly statement. So I've got 8 eggs out there. I'm going to take my spinach. I'm going to scoop it all out. Then I'm going to wrap it up. And then I'm going to get my oatmeal out on the plate also. So now I'm starting to get set up so that I can actually eat this. So I get my oatmeal. Like that slide. And then I'm going to get my eggs that are fairly well dried off right now, because a lot of that's just steam that's going to boil off, or that's going to steam off. I definitely don't want it mixing in with my oatmeal. And then I'm going to put my spinach right on top, right there with the bacon and the mushroom. And now it's pretty simple. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and this is the secret to really bring it all together, is I'm going to add a little bit of goat cheese. That's your best breakfast ever.